There's a lot of trauma that I understand. Like, it took me 20 years of therapy and to realize things that I've grown up with is not because of how messed up my head is. It's actually kind of passed on to me. It's the trauma that was passed on to me that I didn't know how to work with or deal with because I was just a child who was given this huge responsibility of trying to figure out how to untangle this ball of trauma. But now that I'm older and I have the tools that I need, I'm able to communicate with refugee communities on a much wider level through my art. And that's kind of what the focus is on, is telling my family's story of fleeing from their country and my great-grandparents' story of fleeing from their country. So I come from 3 generations of refugees where the great-grandparents, grandparents, and parents fled from war and from famine. And then my story of growing up as a child of refugees. So not kind of, I don't want to profit or take their story and make it mine, but I do think it's important for people to know their story, because there's a lot of kids in my situation who are grown up now whose parents never talked about their hardship or them fleeing a country or them being stranded on a boat or them being in a refugee camp. And it's just as important to hear someone else's story as it is to acknowledge your own. So even though I didn't experience what they went through, I ended up inheriting that trauma that they had from what they experienced. And that's a whole separate can of worms to deal with. And it took me a long time to figure that out. So I figured if I can figure this out, then maybe if I share this information, it'll help other people realize, oh, that's what it is. And I'll know, and they'll know where to start to heal. And art was the best way to do it. It's the best way of communicating. I figured if I write words, I can't write it in as many languages as I need. So I had to find a communication medium where no words were needed. And so through that was my textiles and my art.